People say anniversaries and birthdays bring people closer. But on my wife's 34th birthday, I discovered how far apart we really were. That day, I came home early, excited. I had ordered her favorite strawberry shortcake from the bakery, where we had our first date. I lit candles, set the table, and even printed an old photo of us, the one where she had cake on her nose and that wild, innocent laugh in her eyes. I was ready to surprise her when she came home from work, but she never walked in. I waited. 6 p.m., 8 p.m., 10 p.m. Her phone, off. No messages, no calls. By midnight, I'd blown out the candles and was about to give up. And that's when I heard the knock. When I opened the door, it wasn't her. It was a small girl, standing alone, holding a folded letter. "Are you Mr. Reyes?" she asked. I nodded, confused, and knelt down. She handed me the letter, turned around, and walked away with a woman I didn't recognize waiting near the sidewalk. The letter was addressed in my wife's handwriting. I opened it. My hands trembled. "By the time you read this, I'll be far away. Not because I don't love you, but because I've run out of ways to lie to you. That girl? Her name is Mia. She's your daughter." My heart dropped. I sat there on the floor, trying to breathe, reading the letter over and over again. We had no kids. At least, that's what I thought. We had tried, and years ago. But after 2 miscarriages and a lot of pain, we both agreed to stop. We never talked about adoption, surrogacy, nothing. I assumed she couldn't take the heartbreak. So how? Who was Mia? The next morning, I followed the address the girl's escort had come from a woman named Ellen, who introduced herself as my wife's midwife and close friend. Midwife? That word knocked the air out of me. Apparently, my wife had secretly given birth 5 years ago and kept it from me. But here's the part that really messed with my head. Mia wasn't just my daughter. She was the product of a brief affair my wife had while we were on a break 3 years ago. Except, I was the one who suggested that break, thinking we both needed space after our losses. I never knew she got pregnant. The real father left before the baby was born. My wife never told him, and she never told me either. She said she didn't want to ruin me again. That's the word she used. Ruin. She hid everything. The pregnancy, the birth, the child. But recently, she was diagnosed with something terminal. She didn't tell me that either. The reason she didn't show up on her birthday? She had checked herself into hospice. I found her 2 days later. Her body had weakened, her face pale. But when she saw me walk into that room holding Mia's tiny hand, she smiled like it was the first time she'd felt sunlight in weeks. We talked for hours. She apologized. She cried. I cried. And then, for the first time in what felt like forever, we sat together as a family, however broken, however late. 3 weeks later, she passed. There are wounds you can heal. And there are secrets that steal time you can never get back. I was angry. I was devastated. But in the end, I was a father. Not the way I expected. Not the way I deserved. But love doesn't always come wrapped in clarity. Sometimes it arrives at midnight, wearing tiny shoes, holding a letter that changes everything.